Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to our CAWASA Wednesday webinars. This is number two. And I would like to apologize profusely for a breakdown last week. Um, we had a total system failure, and so we had to replace some of our equipment. But here we are back, and we want to thank our guest presenter, Mr. Henk van Brenk of the Netherlands, who we were able to find, and he consented to resume this week with us. Henk is retired after almost 40 years working at CAWASA, a Dutch drinking water company. He previously worked in waterworks as a non-revenue water specialist in Indonesia, and Valerie Jenkinson of Operators Without Borders was able to attract him to present for us. So we'd like to thank Valerie for giving us that support. She has sent apologies today because I think she's attending some other conference in the United States. Um, the title of the presentation is Non-Revenue Water, and Henk says you will find it all over the world, but the solution to decrease it is different everywhere. So I'm now going to hand over to Hank and to welcome all of you to the session this evening. Over to you, Hank.
Okay, Ignatius, thank you very much for this introduction. And for the people who don't know me, in my presentation for tonight, it was a little bit difficult because I never been to the Caribbean. Yes, I've been in Curacao for holiday, but never for work. So I'm not very good at the moment knowing what is the situation with all the water companies over there. So what I did is I made a presentation, and I think there are two lessons in it who can help everybody and to look maybe also at these problems. I will start the presentation. Can I take over the screen, Ignatius? I think.
Yes, you can do that.
You can see this?
It has not come on as yet.
It is not come on you yet. Okay, we have to try.
I think you need to do share screen again.
Yes, I am busy with that.
Right, it's coming on now, but you may have to go into slideshow.
Yeah, but that will. Is this now you see the slideshow?
Yes.
Okay. That's okay with that. Then I make this one smaller. Okay. Well, what you already said, this is the presentation. I understand, and I learned in all those years that everywhere, all over the world where I've been to, there was non-revenue water. So you find it all over the world. But I also learned that there is not one single solution to decrease it, because everywhere there are different parts to help to decrease the NRW. A little introduction about myself. Well, my name is Henk van Brenk. I live in a very small place in the Netherlands. You see it on the map here. You are somewhere on the Caribbean, is over here, and I am on that small part of Europe. My family, I have 3 children, and they are all married, and one of them have little children. It's not so important, but then you know a little bit about me. And yeah, I'm retired, and I'm doing a lot of nice things, playing golf, tennis, fishing, playing with the grandchildren, but that is not the order for tonight. What did I do? I started in 1980 at a water company. And the first thing, and I said it already when Ignatius told me that his computer was crashed. When I started, there were no computers. The first thing that I did was making drawings just on paper, just for the mechanics. Then they know where all the network was. You call it now the GIS, the GIS systems, but in 1980 it was just on paper. After that, I worked in the whole company, in the whole CAWASA drinking water company. I started at production, I did development, ICT, distribution, and at last also asset management. Well, so that makes me rather a complete drinking water man. And the last years I specified on activities in distribution and special the planning and the big significant works, and also when there were big leakages, to look and see that the customers get always water in from our company. In that part, I also tried to locate leaks. That means that I was also in control of the minimum night flow. We created several DMAs. And yeah, I think it's for all of you the same. If you have big major leaks, you can find them very easy because there's a hole in the ground and you see the water. But to find the small ones, that is very difficult. And that causes also your NRW. So that was some last things I did for the last 10, 15 years at the company. In 2009, I was working also in Indonesia, in Pontianak, to try to reduce the NRW. And in 2017, I started also in Indonesia, in Schragen. And yeah, now I'm retired and I only try to support water companies with my knowledge and try to help them to reduce the NRW. If there are questions or if you want to know something, you always can put it in the chat, or maybe at the end of the presentation we can discuss some things. Well, I don't think I have to explain what non-revenue water is, but well, for those who are not doesn't know it, if you look at Google, you find the description of non-revenue water. And there are 2 points that are interesting in non-revenue water, because non-revenue water is the loss before it reaches the customer. That's easy to understand. But you can divide it in physical losses and commercial losses. And I think that is very important if you understand what it means when it's a physical loss or it's a commercial loss, because if you know that, you can start at the beginning by some programs from EasyCalc, for example, and then you can also see where is probably my most NRW. So this is what we do everywhere when we started with the non-revenue water. But there was also a problem. Each company has it more or less, but it is depending where you are. When in the Netherlands, the NRW we have about 7 water companies in the Netherlands, and they have an NRW from around 6%. And when I went to Indonesia, it was in Schragen, for example, it was 45%. So we said, how is that possible? What is the difference between those companies? And well, I can explain this later, but this is what we found. So for me, it is simple. The question is not if you have it, but the question is most of the time how to reduce it. And of course, if you have 6% NRW or you have 50% NRW, that makes a lot of difference. And so it can also be very important. But what I also learned is the NRW is important, but what is more important is, do you have enough water for your customers for 24 hours a day, or is it only a few hours a day? Because if you have 24 hours a day water delivery, you have enough water, and then if you reduce your NRW, it's only reducing the NRW for non-production, so it's less cost. But if you have not enough water, so you cannot deliver all day, then the NRW is very much more important, because every cube you can find, you can give it to the customer. So it is not only the money, but also more water for your customers. So that makes a difference in how to act with reducing the NRW. Well, I don't gonna tell you tonight how to do, decrease your NRW, because I don't know enough about agreements. I've told you already, but I can tell you two stories about what I learned in reducing the NRW in Indonesia. And I think, and I believe it, it happens to all of us what I show you. The first thing was the reduction in Pontianak in Indonesia. When we started over there, first let me show you where it really started. If you have Indonesia, it's a big island. There's a lot of islands here. Here you see Singapore, and this is the island is Borneo, and this is a part of Malaysia, and Pontianak is over there. The place Pontianak has about 640,000 inhabitants. Total house connection is about 120,000, and production of 50 million cubes, about that. And they have an NRW of 14 million cubes. So we can do something about it. And we started over there with the with an NRW about 30%. And when we started in 2009, we were able to decrease the NRW. And in 2012, it was almost 26%. So in 3 years, from 30 till 26, it is not so much, but we say, okay, we have reached a stable level in the NRW. And we said, okay, now you know how to do it. We were there for about 3 years. And then, yeah, you have to do something. You have to say to the people over there, now you know how to do it, how to decrease the NRW, and maybe you can decrease it a little bit more in the coming years. So we had some other projects, and we say, okay, we stop over there. We were there for 3 years, and then, well, they have to do it for their own. And what was happening when we stopped, that was amazing for me. It was yeah, after some years, I said, this is not good what happened, because this is what happened in the next 3 years. You see, we stopped in 2012, in 2013, it was about 26%. And this is what happened. And when I was there in 2016, after 3 years, I said, what is happening? What did we do? All the work was for nothing. It is back on 31%. And then they said, yeah, but what is happening? we cannot do anything about it because there were other reasons why the NRW was increasing again. And well, they told me that, and I said, okay, I must be honest, you have no influence on that. You can work very hard and you can try to find leakages, but if this is happening, and because what was happening, there was a new major, and he didn't want to spend money in the company for finding NRW. In Indonesia, most of the time, the big boss of the water company is the mayor, and every 4 years there is a selection, and well, there came a new mayor, and he said, yeah, we have other business to do with the money. So the NRW team was not able to work together anymore. They were on different departments. So that was one of the reasons. And another reason, and that is, I think, very important, that a lot of older employees, they retired. And because there was not a very good GIS system, a lot of the network was in the head of all the old employees. And when they retired, the young ones, they didn't know anymore where the network was. So if there was a leakage, they couldn't find sometimes the valves. They didn't know if it's on the right place. So the leakage were not repaired between sometimes a month or 2 months or 3 months. So yeah, when you don't repair them, your NRW will go higher and higher. And this is what happened. So in 2016, when we came back there, we have a big discussion also with the mayor, and we showed them all the graphs and said, well, what will you do about it? Will you leave it? Then you know for sure that it's gonna get higher and higher, or will you invest again and we have to start all over again? Well, that is what they luckily do, because when they started again, they know how to do it, and the team was back again. So they went to the old retired employees and they have asked them, please put it on paper so we have more information about all our network. There was more money for the team, so they have more time. And in 2 years' time, they decreased the NRW again at 28%, and it's going down and down again. What they also do is they make the city in different DMAs, and because they have much more information, they compare all the DMAs, which was the biggest one with the highest NRW. And you see in this part, a very small part, they have 45% of NRW. So they also started to trying to decrease it in this area. So it gives them also hope that that they can show to the management, we can do it, but we need support not only from our mechanics, but also from the management and even from the mayor. And luckily, this is going well now. So this was a first lesson for me. Don't think if you have decreased your NRW, you can sit still and enjoy the sun. You have to stay active and you have to do it together. That's really very important. And because I read in the reports from the Caribbean that some places, they also started already for 2 or 3 years for lowering or decreasing the NRW. That's very good when you do it. But please, please look also, if you stop, know for sure you have to do a lot of work, because if you don't do it, believe me, your NRW will increase in 2 or 3 years to the old level, and then you did anything for wrong. So this was the first one. Then I said to myself, no, this don't happen again to me. Well, If I call you my friends, it happens again also to me. I went to Schragen. Schragen is a small place on the Isle of Java, in the center of Java, near Samarang and Surabaya, between that. And Schragen is a little bit bigger than the other one, but the total house connections are less, and they have not so much production. They have only 80 million cubes, and they sell about 30 million. So the NRW was also 6 million cubes, a lot of water. And but Schragen was a little bit farther. They had already several DMAs because they have several different stations and they divided the whole area. And we said, okay, we make a pilot for trying to show you that you can decrease your NRW by your own with a little help from us. So we started in a small one, and it was the area of Mazaran. Well, the area of Mazaran was an easy one. We started there in 2017 with a little bit information. The total distribution in that area was 42,000 cubes every month. Total use 26,000. So we said, okay, and where is the rest of it? Is it leaking? What is happening over there? We started there with a simple action plan. We visit the area. It was, are there many rivers? Is it flat or is it hilly? Because we want to know a little bit about the situation over there. And we visit also the drinking water station. There was one station, but they have 2 meters. And the first thing when I started everywhere, is how reliable are your water meters on the stations? Because the whole NRW that you present me is if your meters from the stations are not correct, then your total NRW is not correct. So they have digital meters, and we say, okay, we start with clamp-on meters to check them, because if we do that, we know for sure, maybe there is a little difference, but that's okay. We know for sure that all the figures you gave from the last years are correct from what you did, what your production have done. We also start there from the GIS. This is the area of Mazaran, and they had already a simple but very good GIS. You see all the spots where all the connections are. So it is a lot more information than when we started in Pontianak. And we divided the area of total Mazaran in small DMAs. So we say, okay, we make different DMAs. There were valves in there. And there was one pipeline to this area. So we said, okay, if we make here on this point, we put in a digital meter, and then we know for sure what is the water use in this area every day. And we started doing daily measurement on this small part. It was not so big, but they want to learn how to decrease the NRW. So if you start in a small part, it's easier than in a big city. And well, in the end of 2017, it seems that the NRW was stable at 35%. You see it here in all the figures. Sometimes it is a little bit higher, but that is when there is a hot season and there is the big day. The Muslims have sometimes they have a big day, and that is most of the time here in May and June. But most of the time, if you took it, it's about 35%. And we started the end of December and in the beginning of January. And we start to find the leakage, and that we do that just by measurement in the nighttime. So we have some clamp-on meters, and every night we went to a different part of the small DMA, and we put in daytime they dig the holes, and we can place the clamp-on meters on that, and in nighttime we did the measurement. And if we found the leakage, directly the next day they tried to repair it. So that was hard work, but the results, they were amazing. Just in 1 month, we decreased the NRW from 36% to 16%. And then they get more and more enthusiastic, because they know at that moment, oh, if we do it, if we put a lot of effort in it, we can do it without big help, without having much money or people from outside. So we can do it. And then we went with this to the management and also to the mayor, and we say, okay, this is what we do. We show them the same pictures as I show you, and we say, okay, we can lower it in this small area. If you have now a little bit of money for us, so we can put this team together for 1 year, we try to do it for the total area of Mazaran. So they started, and the mayor, she is a very nice woman, and she said, okay, also to me, if you can arrange it that we can see after 1 year what you, if you can decrease the NRW below 20% for the total area of Mazaran, for the next 3 years, you may go on with other pilot areas. So that was what we did. In 2017, the total NRW in Mazaran was 35%. And at the end of 2018, we managed to get it below 19%. So it was hallelujah all over the place. And we have a big party. A lot of people came there, and we say, this is what we achieved, and now we can go on. It's really a success story. And then in 2020, it happens also with you, and also in Indonesia, there was COVID. And yeah, then the mayor said, sorry, but the NRW team has other priorities, because they cannot normally, if a customer doesn't pay anymore, he will be closed. But because of the hygienic, as he said, you may not close them because it's not good. COVID was there, and this is what happened. You see here, when we left, it was below 19, and it's now 23, and they have to start again, because we are again at about 35%. So again and again, the second time that one of my projects, what I think was very good, it was going wrong. But still, reducing is difficult. It costs a lot of time. It's going in little steps. You have to do a lot of work. And sometimes realize you have to start all over again. But at the end, yeah, still be happy and get smiling. So I will end this short presentation with one message. And I think it's very important for everyone. If you have enough money, it's very easy to decrease the NRW. You call in a company and you pay a lot of money and they will fix it for you. But when they stop, when it is low, when it is decreased below 20% and they go away, and you sit on your chair in the sun and do nothing about NRW anymore, believe me, it will raise in 2 or 3 years. So you need from everybody to be enthusiastic. It's not only the management, it's also the mechanic, the fitter, the people at the production station. You have to keep it under control. And that shows also that reducing the NRW is possible. But in my case, I think it must be done by local people, because if you do it by external people, when they leave, it doesn't help you. And maybe you can use a little help from others, but most of the decreasing from the NRW, it comes from yourself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Henk. Well, I will go straight into the chat room and see if there are questions. I have none yet, but I want to thank you for giving us another twist to it. And the last thing you said was that it would be best to do non-revenue water reduction yourself as utilities, and not to have someone do it for you. Isn't it possible to have someone do it for you, and that they can do the training of your people alongside you, or help to have them
Of
involved?
course, of course. What I mean by doing it by yourself is that you can do it with a company, you can do it with a lot of help from others, but you also need local people who know exactly what is happening. Because if you only say to a company, do it, and then after 3, 4, 5 years they leave, and then you know not how they fixed it, that is not good. You have to be there also from your own. So of course you can use help from others. There are a lot of companies who will help you and are very good, but not only the external company. It's always a mixture of local people from the drinking water company and externs, and that's for training, that's for solutions. But what I learned in those last 15 years, if you talk with the people, the local people from the company, they have so much, they are so good in a lot of things, and you only have to start with them, and then they know for sure that they can do it by themselves. And there is always help from people. You can, well, what we do now is also people who are retired will help you. If you have money, you can send in companies. I saw on the report there were a lot of 3 or 4 companies already starting with decreasing the NRW by so one of the companies was Maya, very good to help them. If they can lower the NRW, it's very good, but please keep also for yourself informed.
Right. There's a question in the chat room. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll read it out. It's from Gary Pilgrim. He asked, is the DMA have all properties metered, or were assumptions made on water usage?
Yeah.
How often were the bulk meters tested and recalibrated?
The first thing when I start trying to decrease the NRW is, first I go to the plant or to the station where, and if there are 2 or 3 stations, well, we have to do it by 3 stations, or maybe with 1 well. There are also wells who are direct delivering into some places. Start by putting over there if possible a digital meter. If not possible, when we have to use a normal meter, and they have to write down every morning at 8 o'clock how much water is going there, because then you have 24 measurements. If there is a digital meter, we also say check them by using a simple clamp-on meter that's not so expensive. And if you do that, we say you have to check them. If you if your DMA is correctly metered also at the customers, and you know your NRW in some DMA is 21%, and next year it's again 21%, and next year also, then you can say, okay, my meters are maybe all right. But what we also propose is do once a year the clamp on metering on your bulk meters, on your station meters. And if it's between a range or 2 or 3%, it's also all right. If the bulk meters are more than 5 or 6%, it's depends how much water is going through, then you have to calibrate also the bulk meters. But just for a simple test, use the clamp on meter. Is that enough?
Well, I haven't seen other questions, colleagues. The show is yours, so it's your opportunity to put the questions if you have any to Hank. Yeah, I think we have another one here from Alvaro Ramallo. He says non NRW reduction was mostly via SIV reduction. I saw some small increase in revenue. What were the actions on the commercial law side to reduce non-revenue water?
Well, that depends a little bit how much data do you have for the commercial loss. Do you have enough of the data? There are already people who have put some examples on the I don't know, maybe Ignatius, do they know the CAWASA site?
I'm not sure. We've done some. We've had on the one case, I think in Belize, it was many years ago. Belize worked with a water utility in California, the Contra Costa Water District, and the Contra Costa was the mentor utility that assisted Belize in the partnership to reduce non-revenue water. I don't know if anyone is on.
Okay, it's all right. Well, for the commercial loss, the first thing when you started for NRW, and I know for sure because I saw it already on your some companies have it. They use the EasyCalc Excel file, and in the EasyCalc Excel file you can see, you can assume how much water you will produce, how much water you will sell, so you can see is it commercial or is it physical losses. So that's the first thing to divide how much water is commercial loss and how much water is physical loss. If it is commercial loss, then there starts another part, because then you need data from your customers also, because a lot of commercial losses is because your custom meters are maybe not correct. How old are your custom meters? And there are already on the CAWASA sites, there are examples from water companies who has made their own Excel sheet and put the data from the customers inside, and then they can decide it. Okay, first we take all the old meters, all the old water meters from 30 or 40 years old, and they also know how much water is going through, and then they start a water meter change program for those old meters. And that's the first thing where you can do, and what you can do on your commercial losses.
Okay, we have two more questions, Hank. One is from Gary Pilgrim, who's asking, for properties within the DMA, were they all metered? And the other one is from Stuart Hamilton, who asked, did you ever monitor the pressure throughout the surveys? And did you review the reduction in line with the pressure in case of a relationship?
Yeah. Well, for the properties within the DMA were they all meters. When we started over there with the last project in Schagen, there were not. So we started with the DMAs who have already been digital metered, and we make a calculation and also a program for the next 3 years to see if we can get money from some bank or some investment to put in all the DMAs from the stations or the wells digital meters. So yes, we need that if you want to reduce your NRW. It's important that you have all your wells or your production stations well metered. And yeah, then if you have to start, try to get digital meters. It has not be the best ones because they are very they're not cheap, but just try to find a mixture of good meters. The second question for pressure, yeah, NRW is very much depending on pressure management. So yeah, and I think Stuart knows it as no other. Reduction of NRW, if you can manage your pressure by valves or by other pumps, that's very important, because if you have leakage, and especially in the nighttime where there's less use, your pressure will get sky high, and if you have a leakage, you have lost a lot of water. If your leakage in the nighttime, you can manage it by a lower pressure. It is the first thing that you earn already in money. So yeah, we also started with pressure management in the DMAs.
Right.
Is that enough for you, Stuart?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I just thought I ought to raise the question of the pressure relationship and NRW. That's all.
Yes.
Right, I see no more questions. If there are no questions or comments, then
Yeah, can I just ask
Yes.
one question?
yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Feel free,
Yeah.
Stuart. We are happy
Yeah.
to have you.
Yeah. Did you use any of the KPIs apart from percentage? Because we know percentage isn't the ideal with variance of such as pressure and what and the like.
Yeah. Of course, we suggest also to look at the KPIs, but when we started in Indonesia, that was a difficult thing. So because it works a little bit different. We have the program in Holland that's called Waterworks. I don't know if you ever heard of it. All the water companies in Holland, they have in 2017 they came together and they say, okay, we start with a program all over the world for water companies, and we will in about 10-12 years we will deliver water to 10 million people who don't have water now. But we don't only do the NRW, we try to get the whole company to a better level. So also the ICT, the human resource, the production, the laboratory, the NRW distribution. So it is a total packet. And if you use total packet, you can also introduce the KPIs if they are not there. If they are there already, you can use them, but sometimes that's difficult not for the management. If you have to talk with the management or the mayor, you can use the KPIs. But if you go to the mechanics or into the field, then then is cubes a day or cubes a minute or cubes an hour that your losses is much more talkable. Is that answering your question, Stuart?
Well, it is, but I mean, we do encourage the litres per connection per day per meter.
Yeah, okay, but
as a standard, because
yes,
that's it's not a deviant. Then, if your pressure increases or decreases, it's still per meter of pressure. That's what I was getting to.
Yeah, okay, I understand, because but that was not the for this presentation. We didn't mention it because it was another presentation. If I look at the report from I think 2021 was a report from the Korean water study. I read that, and then you see a lot of KPIs in how much water your losses per connections per day, well, in hours, and there is maybe, I thought there was also a list of it in that special in that study on I think I had page 47 or something like that, and you can see more of it. So yes, it is important.
Okay, colleagues, do you have any other questions or comments? Okay, there being none, I would again like to thank you so much, Henk, for sharing your evening with us. And we do hope that you found it as warm with us as it is in the Caribbean. And, yes, go ahead.
I always get warm when I have the opportunity to talk about water. It's in my life, it's in my family. I have my daughter is working in the water company. She is a student, but she's related to water. My son-in-law is working at a water company, so it's in my life. So I'm always get excited when I can speak about water, and because it is the most important thing in the world.
Absolutely. So yes, thank you very much, Henk. And this was a presentation by Henk van Brenk of the Netherlands, who took his evening off to spend with us out in the Caribbean. He's a retired veteran of 40 years in CAWASA, a Dutch drinking water company. And he has done considerable work with waterworks as a non-revenue water specialist in Indonesia. And so we also like to thank again the Operators Without Borders for linking us with Brenk and making this possible. And we hope that we will continue such presentations. As you know, if it's Wednesday, it's CAWASA Wednesday webinars. Thank you very much, colleagues, for joining us. See you next time. And good evening to all. And get home safely if you're on the road. Bye now. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.